Good morning. Well, it's morning here anyway. Hello, everybody. I am Diane Dobson Barton. Well, it's morning here anyway. Hello, everybody. I am Diane Dobson Barton. Let me mute that so you can hear me better. Okay, let's try that one more time. Good morning. I have my notes here. I am Diane Dobson Barton, and what we're going to be doing is I want to share favorite ways to blend oil pastels so that you can get a smoother painterly effect or keep that juicy texture when you want it. Whether you're just starting out or you want to add some new techniques to your toolkit, I'll walk you through 7 different ways to blend oil pastels and when to use them. Now I've got this split up into 6, so I'll just use this page over here for number 7. Okay, where are we? There we are. Just FYI, I'm using Paul Rubens oil pastels for this. If you're not familiar with them, they are made in China, but they are a wonderful value. And if you've priced oil pastels that are a professional grade, you'll see that the prices of the Paul Rubens and the Mungio and Haya, which is also a Paul Rubens company, their prices are much lower than some of the others. This is very affordable. Let me see that. Okay, and I chose the colors magenta, kind of a teal blue, and of course a yellow. So I've got our things here, and we're ready to go. It's a little crooked. I'll get that straight for you. Make sure now it's crooked the other way. We'll go with it. It works. Notes, notes, notes. Okay, of course, first the obvious one that is almost instinctual that everybody uses is to blend with your fingers. Now I'm going to put gloves on because I get it everywhere. Well, you probably won't have gloves on, so I won't put gloves on. Okay, this is our number 1 square. I don't know if you can see the pencil markings here. Let's go with number 1. And I'll just put some of this yellow in here. What we want to do is have a smooth transition between the colors, and we want them to blend. Right? Now I'm not putting this on real thick. As you can see the paper still through it. These are nice and creamy. I don't suggest you use Pentel. Of course, if that's what you've got, go for it. But at some point, I would strongly suggest you switch over to a softer brand. See how that's. The great thing about using your fingers is you got 5 different ones, so you can just switch off there. Oops, I got a little blue in there. But you can tell that's purplish. Let me go back over that. But we're winding up with our little rainbow there. I'm going to try and neaten this up a little. Let's get in there and blend that puppy. Just going in little bitty circles, or you can go back and forth and blend it as much as you want to, or not. I'm wiping my finger off here on this paper towel so that the colors don't get don't get too but you can see there, you can get a nice blend. I just love the feel of using these. These are just, they're nice. Okay, so there we've got a nice blend that we've done with the 3 colors that we used our finger. Okay, the second one, I won't use this many colors in this one, but in the second one, we're going to use a paper towel. I almost started doing it just naturally, because after you learn to do these, you have these in your arsenal to just pick up and use whenever you need to. You see a little blending there already. But I'm going to use my paper towel over my finger and just kind of go back and forth. You see it's getting a nice green in there. Sorry about that. I hear voices, so I don't know if somebody's here. I'm just at home, so Poncho, you're okay. Come here, baby. Come here, baby. Come here. Yeah, you're okay. Okay, you can see when you blend these with the paper towel. Now I don't want to take this blue that I put over here and put it directly into this yellow if I want this to blend gradually, because that's going to automatically just pick that up. If I want that to blend over a little more, let's layer a little more too. Yellow is one of those colors that just picks up everything. Let's see. Poncho just wanted to say hi. Poncho is often around. He's my buddy. And I added that a little more color just to give it a little smoother look in there because you can kind of see. Okay. This is how most people begin with their blending, is they'll use paper towel or they'll use their finger, one of the two or both. And you can see it kind of, you can gradually get that to go over into the other color. I'm just trying to smoothen this out. And if you want this to be seamless, you can do just like I'm doing and go back over it gently and then reblend it. And you'll get it. Those are such nice colors. This is a cyan blue, I believe. No, I can't read it. Water blue. It says it's a water blue, and then this is magenta, and of course I think this is just a yellow. It says pale yellow or something like that. I've used these so much that the names are getting torn off of it. That's permanent lemon yellow. Clip those back off. Okay, so that gives you two ways. And then our third way, let's just go ahead and, well, no, let's use these two. Let's use these two. Third way is to layer. Now I'm not pressing down very hard. It's, you can see paper through it. And then we're going to put in this magenta over it, just gently. At first, anyway, you don't want to just go in there real heavy-handed right off the bat. Now I'm pushing down a little harder. I like a nice, juicy, thick pastel layer on the paper. And then this is my yellow, and I'm going to go over. That's just a little lint thingy that fell off. And I'm going to go over it with my yellow. Now this tends to happen a lot for me when I'm on edges, like if I'm doing a portrait. You've got the shoulder area and you want it to be a soft edge. Just go right in there. Come on, baby. If anybody has any questions or anything, feel free to put them in the comments. If you're on the live, if you're on the replay, Feel free to ask away. YouTube lets us know. Now I'm going on a little heavier handed. Getting in there. And with the yellow in particular, I go from the light to the dark, because if I started with this area, it will automatically transfer whatever is here over to here, and it'll make a sharp change there. It won't blend, it'll just jump. I see one little spot in there that needs. Now I'm back to not being heavy-handed. Okay. So that's, you can kind of layer it that way. And then this next one, let's see, what colors do you want to use? Let's use all three of them again. Next one, you're going to be using some solvent. You can use, I use mineral spirits or Gamsol. I've heard of people using nail polish remover, baby oil, which I have not tried either of those myself personally, because I just wonder about archivalness on my work. I don't want to come back in, you know, a year or two and it's just kind of, it's ruined. It's not, yeah, it hasn't held up. Because you put all that work into it. That's up to you. I strongly suggest you just play. Get in there and see what works for you. Now these I got these off Amazon, but of course I think you can get these at Michael's, Dick Blick, and a number of other places that sell art supplies. They're a popular brand. But you can see, I just put those there. Now I've got this brush here, and I've got my container of mineral spirits. I'm going to start with the red and yellow. And you can, if you look close, you can see it just kind of melts it. I'm wiping it off so I can get it clean. And you don't want to put on too much at one time of the solvent, because it's harder to control. You could just, it's not a very pretty orange, but let's see if we put over that a little bit. You can feel it. It becomes very slick. And you can do what I just did too, and put mineral spirits on the paper and then blend it. Get back over there. So like right here. There we go. And that gives it a nice, smooth, slick feel to it. just depends on how you want it to look. Because as you see, each one gives you a little bit of a different look to it. When you're done with your brush too, you want to make sure that you wash it out. I use Dawn soap on mine. I'll get as much of the color off of the brush as you can with the mineral spirits. Oh, look at that. It's so pretty. And then wash it in warm water with just a drop of, I say Dawn, but any dishwashing soap should work. Or Ivory soap will also work well, and it's a little gentler on it. If you want to lessen the amount that you put on, you can just dab it on your paper towel. And you can just play with this. Just see what it does. I'm going to put a little more magenta in the center there. You see how the texture is different? In there, where you put that. There you go. And this is when you can start mixing types of blending skills together. This is just got a little magenta over there. Now I put this down with this tape so I can pull it up and it'll have a nice clean edge. It's just for my own, so I have it for my own record. Usually I will do a pastel demonstration on Thursdays. I'll do it live, but I was not available this week, so hopefully this helps. So we've got blending with our finger, blending with the paper towel in there. We've got layering it on top of each other, and then we've got the solvent blending in here. And yeah, I have notes. I don't want to miss out. Well, now see, it said on my list, well, we'll just go with what's here. Let's do this. Let's put down a yellow, and let's clean it so it's nice and clean. Because again, yellow picks up everything. It's kind of like when you wear white clothes and decide to have a cup of coffee. Of course, that's the day you're going to spill it. I think this is my favorite one, my favorite method. I'm putting that down pretty thick too, and you can blend that, or let's go ahead and do that actually. I don't think there's too much on my hand. Blend that out so it's nice and smooth. Okay. Then what you do is you come over it over it with this blue. And I'm being a little heavy-handed here. It will depend on what you're doing, on how hard you'll push down. And then you come in with a sharp tool. You can use a toothpick. You can use a skewer. This is an old ceramic tool that I have. And just come in there and just kind of scrape it off to make it blend. This also leaves behind a definite texture too. I like using it in backgrounds, or sometimes in clothing. It looks interesting. It just depends on what you're doing. I got a little heavy-handed there with the I don't know, maybe it's because it's similar to using a pencil. I like scraping that off. And then I can go back in. So I got a little heavy-handed there with the scraping. And just ever so slightly. And you can use this to cross-hatch, so your lines are going two different directions, or you can do it just in one. I think that pastel might have still had a little bit of mineral spirit still on it. But I'm taking my time on doing these. They don't always have to take you this long. You get used to it and you can just pull out whatever method works best for you. That looks pretty on the screen. I'm going to go back here and scrape a little more of that off. Yeah. There we go. That's the ticket. Okay. So I've got a nice blend to either color. These are like 3-inch squares, 3.5 inch or so, 3 by 2, a little bigger than like a business card or your driver's license. So if that gives you an idea of. And then there's Scumbling, which again I'm going to use the yellow. I can think of several other ones. There's a video I did a long time ago, and I cover several different methods of just using oil pastels, but this is just on blending. But you might find that video useful. But I just put that on there really loose. You can see the paper underneath it, and then just, well, let's use this. No, let's use this. And then just very lightly, just kind of give it a little texture. These oil pastels are addictive. I think they're a great way to get color down without having to invest in an entire set of paints. And they're portable. You can see I'm just kind of doing circles here. If you get them on your clothes, they should just wash right out with anything that takes oil out. Again, I go back to Dawn dishwashing soap. I'm working in really good. So if you've got kids that are doing this, and this is called Scumbling. You just circle around, give it a little texture. This would be great for like a grassy area. If that gives you an idea. Go a little strong. My blue over here. But because I put that yellow down, you can see the difference between these two. And if you just go over, when you start getting it on there thick enough, if you go over it with the other pastel and just barely touch the surface, the colors will blend together. It's like its own little paintbrush there. Now I used paper towel. Is it here? I think so. No, it was there. I'm looking at my notes. Finger paper. Yeah. I used a paper towel in here, I think. And I'm looking at it and I can really see those. But if I go in there real lightly, the one that I use, the pastel layers, this one, just layering themselves. I want to be able to show you here, let me just, if you get two really bright colors, this is more than 6, but who's counting, right? We'll pretend like that's not there. If you go over this, with one color, and then you just go, you can get really, look at the marks you can get with that. That's why I say the yellow picks up everything. And if you're pushing hard, like I was just doing, it starts to, see how it mixes? It gets these little, and you can just rub those off and get those back in there. Then if you want it clean, you want good old bright yellow. Just clean it off really well. And you see you'll get the, and that's because I touched into that. But you can get all kinds of blending done and scraping. You can just get in there and let your frustrations out. It can be very therapeutic. Oh, that's, I know it looks dark, but I like, it's almost like a Northern Lights type look to it. And you'll find too, if you go over these with like a paper towel, it will thin it somewhat. And you can go over it with this yellow. But you can also take a palette knife or something and see, just scrape that off. And it takes it back as far as it can to the regular paper, natural paper. And you can just go over it. And then when we were doing scraping with our tool, see how bright you can get those and clean. You can cross hatch. If your doohickey starts to get a little bit too much, collecting a little much on it, you can go over it. You can even dip them into the mineral spirits and get something completely different. But that gives you an idea. We've got these that we covered, and then just playing here. I suggest you just get some out and just play, have fun. Let's see. This is just me using the 3 colors too. And sets usually come 24, 48, 12. Okay. So that gives you an idea. If it's your first time using them or you're a beginner. See how much shorter my yellow is getting there? Cut that off there. And then you can also use a Q-tip dipped in mineral spirits, or you can use it now. This one I dipped in mineral spirits, if you didn't notice, if you didn't see. Or you can just go with the end of it without the mineral spirits. Blend it that way. There's all kinds of possibilities. Just have fun. Get in there and have some fun. And I will see you next time. All right, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. You all rock. I appreciate you more than I can say. And I will see you next time. All right. Bye-bye.